Object-oriented programming. That's what we're going to look at. A lot of programming languages are object-oriented now. What an object-oriented programming language means that you have an object. So what's an object? An object is just any sort of thing that we're creating within our program. When we have an object, we have to both give it state and the related behavior. That's kind of what gives us a unique thing about an object. An object doesn't only have a state. It's like a type of variable almost, but we can also assign behavior to that variable. So this guy has a state. He has a state, he has a head, he has arms, he has legs. He's our object, and we can say all those things about him. We can also say a lot of things about him, like he can eat, he can walk, he can talk. So we can give all those behaviors to the object. Then when we move forward, we can use inheritance. So that means if I make a subclass for my object, it inherits all of the behaviors from the original parent class. So if I'm making an object of type person, I already know that he can eat, drink, talk, walk, hold things, pick things up. I already have all those behaviors already programmed in. I don't need to do them again. So we can do this, we can sort of take this to the next level. We can create this idea where we can create multiple instances of our object. With inheritance, we're getting the behaviors from the parent object. Polymorphism is when we take that on and we can see that we can make multiple different types of subclasses from our parent object. And each subclass will have their own unique behavior. Subclasses inherit behaviors from their parent class, but parent classes do not inherit behaviors from their subclasses. So what this allows us to do is we can make our little fast food guide here. And we already know he can walk, he can talk, he can pick up objects and use them. So we have all those things that come from just being a person. But then we can make him different types. We could make him our cook and put him in the back, cooking burgers, flipping burgers, cooking fries. We could put a mop in his hand and then give him all the sort of behaviors he would need to have to clean, without having to also program in walking and talking and all those things. So this is polymorphism. So why do we want to do this? What are some of the great things we can do? Other than, as we said, just a few of them. But now we'll look at our front counter staff. This is who you'd interact with if you went into the fast food restaurant. One of the things we can do with object-oriented programming is we can use abstraction. Abstraction is how we talk about when we take the important or the necessary parts of the program that you need to interact with and we put them out front, and then we can hide the unnecessary or the distracting elements in the background. So like the kitchen staff in the back, you don't really need to interact with them, but you need to interact with the counter staff. So when we use abstraction, we're exposing all the necessary parts and functions while hiding the unnecessary details. Another part that's really closely related to this idea of abstraction, but isn't actually abstraction itself, is encapsulation. All right, encapsulation isn't abstraction, but encapsulation leads to abstraction. So encapsulation means that we hide different variables, different functions from other parts of the program. We put them inside classes so that that class can use it, but we restrict access to modules and properties that we otherwise don't want to be accessed. So encapsulation allows us to wall off areas of our program. So it could be for just so that it runs well. It could also be for security. So if we don't want the user to have access to the file system, we don't put any of the behaviors, any of the modules that will allow us to access the file system in the areas that the user can access. So that's encapsulation. The four main pillars of object-oriented programming are, as we just went and looked through, abstraction. So that is hiding the unnecessary parts of the program while exposing the necessary parts or the important parts. Encapsulation, which is walling off parts of your program and modules in your program from other places, other parts of your program, other code. Inheritance means that classes inherit their behaviors and states from their parent classes. And polymorphism is that those objects that we create, the subclasses that we create, have their own unique characteristics as well. So we can give them their unique characteristics and make them, specialize them for different functions and jobs that we need them to do.